I was gonna do this inside, and then I thought, might as well show you the reality. So what is happening is that I'm making a delicious, really good tea. I want to try to make more like home kind of, you know, rose or lavender lemonade, or like honey kind of flavored sparkling something, or you know, just like a lot more homemade drinks. And I really want to make more iced teas, and try to work on that. And so I just got inspired the other day, and I was starting doing it, and yeah, and I have, you know, this little like tea thingy that I thought was gonna be helpful because it's not gonna let any tea through, but every time I do it, it opens. I don't know why. I think there's some kind of clicking system, I don't know. And so I'm gonna refilter this into there. Usually I would drink it like that, but since I'm gonna be doing a video, I don't want to have like stuff in my mouth every sentence that I drink. So let's just refilter it, add some milk, and then do the planting that I want to do. So episode 2 of me doing things I don't know how to do. This is gonna be, I think I could name the channel something along these lines. I think I touched upon it a little bit on the first episode, but there is pretty good. Could use some honey. Yeah, basically I can say that I just so much in my life, so much in my business, so much in things I get done, and so much in my personality is about managing new things I've never done before, I would say. I'm starting this really wrong, whatever, okay? And doing things very clumsily and just not a good idea, but whatever, I don't want to do it otherwise. Okay, let's just open it like this. Yeah, this is surely not how you open a bag, but it's okay. Let's first say what I'm doing today and then talk about other things. So I have started, so we did a whole huge terracing of our garden. We live in such a let me show you. So this is our view. This is my view right now, which is pretty awesome. And we live in a mountain, and so we had to terrace our garden, which now looks like not too much, honestly, but it's a good beginning. We have done this whole work in terracing of the garden, and I don't know much about any of this. It's quite interesting how much I feel I have gathered, and I started to know about like, yeah, metal smithing and anything that's like solid and sturdy, like wood and rocks and so on. Feel like I can figure it out very quickly. And things that are more soft, like earth and textile, like like clothing and so on, it's not making as much sense for me, I can tell. But anyways, and so again, like, you will see a lot of unconventional ways of doing things here. My plan today is that I started planting these seeds in a complete random manner. I had tried to make a plan, couldn't stick to it, got really annoyed at the plan, and so I just like put seeds in the soil and just, okay, whatever. The little seedlings thingies, and I was so amazed of how quick these came out. Okay, the basil was already a basil plant that I divided up, but I have some peas. Look at this. It's like there's so many, and also they're incredible. Like, here is the actual seed, like the actually bean, and we see it. It's so magical. We see it. It like popped open and then all came up, and it's so cool. But I definitely can tell whether it's like anyways, I can tell that it doesn't have enough room, so I would like to like dividing it up very gently and give it a little more room. And then I bought this little parsley and this mint. I hope this is the mint I want. I'm not finding the European mints I love here in the US, so I got the closest thing that I could find to it, which is spearmint, and I don't think it's the right one. I'm still hoping it is. I don't know how I'm gonna go about this, so this is probably gonna be partly chaos, partly looking good. And I know I shouldn't have like broken this thing because we can reuse it, but it was kind of wanting to be broken. I could sense it intuitively. I don't know. It just felt like I should break it, so I broke it. That's a bit stupid. I won't break the next one. Anyways, let's focus for a sec and then let's talk more. This one. Still okay. Alright. 5 of them, I think. And I managed to divide them up. So, yeah, I think maybe something that I wanted to wait a little longer to tell this story, but I think I will just tell it now because it's an easy story for me to tell. And it matches also this philosophy, and I think a lot of this channel is going to be about daring to do things even when we're not ready. So much I want to talk about, but I don't want to talk about it today. I want to talk about today how I started becoming a jeweler, because I think a lot of people don't know this story, and I think that might be more interesting for some to know. Also because it's a sweet story. So I often say, and you may know this, that my family are artists and artisans, and I grew up a lot, especially in my dad's studio. He worked like right across the street from our home. He worked in a sculpture studio. He was like his right hand, like just right, I don't know how you call it, but you know, just working with him, with Olivier Strabel. I wanted to share is that I had not decided I wanted to become a jeweler at all. At all. That was not a plan of mine. Simply what happened is that when I was a kid, I took one day I took a ancient jobs workshop where I witnessed how people were making, okay, let's do this one without destroying it, where people were making like glass blowing, glass blowing and metal smithing and other kinds of older style crafts, basically. I must have been like 12 or something. We were with the school, and we went to this kind of fair, and I learned how to make a ring in metal, and I was so excited. I was so mesmerized. I came home, I was very, 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 very happy about it, and my mom bought me a whole kit of jewelry making things, and I made rings, and then I started making like beaded rings, and I had a blast, like a really, really good time as well. And then I just became a teenager and didn't want to do so much craft anymore, and just, yeah, whatever. Fast forward, I was 18 after I had met my husband in a peaceful school in Denmark. I was staying here in the US. Actually, Xander was making glass blowing and just like artistic things up here. His dad was working. He's a amazing, wonderful couples therapist. Really, really, really beautiful work he's doing. And his mom is an artist. And so they were all doing their thing for a little bit, and I was kind of bored. And I also wanted to do something creative with my hand. And so I went in the studio. Xander's mom's chose her name. Her birth name is Ivona, but she named herself Rainbow, officially, legally. And his dad also changed his name to a very, very special acronym, basically purple, but it means like peace in the world and something. I have to ask him, and not like butcher his name. Very, very lovely, beautiful, special people that I adore, and everybody that meets them adores them. Anyways, and so I was finding supplies in Rainbow's studio for metal like wires and other things, and so I got so excited, and it was in November 2027, and I gathered all the wires I could find, and within like, I always exaggerate this, of course, but still, like within maybe 30 minutes, I had made like at least 10 rings. I was maybe 15, honestly. Like I remember I was like having so many rings laying on a table outside, and yeah, Xander was doing glass with a friend, and then they came back, and I was like so excited that I had like so many rings on the table, and it was like just it popped out of my hand. I did not like remember that well, but suddenly it happened, and so I was so happy, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with this as well. Honestly, looks much better than I had feared. So within a very short time frame, I got so much, and then I showed to Purple and Rainbow as well. And Rainbow, her sweetest self, honestly, like this is the story why I want to tell it, because the reason why today I live for my craft as a passion is probably because of Rainbow. Basically, this is not open. She's the most supportive artist I could ever imagine, because she cares so deeply about encouraging others, whatever they do, and that for me has meant the world. Partly also because I come from a family of artists and artisans, but therefore there's a lot of talent that comes before you, and that can be intimidating. It can be a little, yeah, it can be a little intimidating, and talented parents, I'm not gonna adventure into that realm too much, but this is not that much bigger, but she has a talent of encouraging anybody that does anything creative to like keep doing it, and it's so beautiful to see. She has like a presence that's, yeah, so listening and so caring and well with people, and yeah, so she did her magic with me, and she told me, your jewelry is so beautiful. It was really not that beautiful. I just made something, but it was first piece of jewelry. She was like, no, it's stunning, and she's very expressive in that way. She's like, stunning, so beautiful, you have to sell it at the Christmas market next door. I don't know about that, like I just made this, and I really, and I was, of course, like anybody, kind of not jumping. Most adults, I would say, maybe kids would feel very different, and I think that tells a lot about the world and how inspiring kids are. But most adults would probably not jump on the occasion of being like, okay, sure, let's sell at the Christmas market. So I was like, whoa, I don't think so. And she just like insisted, and you can hardly say no to a person that is like so supportive. She was like, go for it, don't worry, just sell for a few dollars. And so I went back in like 10 years ago. I went to that Christmas market at the eco community next door, but that allowed me to just sell jewelry before even like thinking about anything brand related whatsoever, and then people bought it. A lot of people bought it, and I got to meet people, and I got to do my first markets before even understanding what was happening. And that was so special. That was really, I don't know, that was very touching for me to reconnect with a craft and have that much encouragement. And I think, to me, this means the world, and says so much about how a person can really create so much impact in another's life, simply by encouraging them. So I did that, and then I'm gonna rinse my hands and I'm gonna water this, so I will be back. I don't know if I would have ever started making and selling jewelry if it wasn't for her encouragement, truly. And therefore, I think that so much of my core identity as a jeweler, as a creator, as a business is about like tutoring and supporting the next ones that I will meet, basically, and like my students and like the people that are interested in jewelry making. And I want to talk so much more about that, so I will, but I want to just like finish about this specific story. Once I had sold the Emwa Jewelry, then I could buy more materials, and so I went to some stores and got some more beads and some wires and some more like pliers and so on, and then I like evolved and I got like back then I was working with copper plated silver, like copper with a plating of silver on top. And so first I was working with copper and then copper plated silver, and then again I sold a little bit at the market, and then I came back. I was on a holiday here back then, and I came back to Belgium and I showed my mom and my mom's friends, and they bought from me, and then some friends of mine bought from me, and some from high school bought from me. And I when I was here still, I had created a little Facebook page and a little Instagram page back in 2027, and I just moved to the Netherlands to go to university, and so I like met a few people, and I was wearing my jewelry, and I told them about my jewelry, and then some friends like bought jewelry for me as well, and uh, every time a new person bought, and so like any of these people that were like the very core star, the ones, just I felt so so grateful and like so loving for the people in Maastricht and at the university there that were like purchasing from me. And I remember I was like at Maastricht and studying and not having made a business out of it yet, and just being like in the corridors handing jewelry, like waiting, handing jewelry and getting cash. It really looked like other kind of business. It was so funny. And yeah, and like so much, like more and more people at university were starting to wear my things and were super supportive and super kind, and yeah, so sweet. And yeah, and so yeah, it's just how it started. And then every new purchase allowed me to pay myself and pay for a little bit of my student life and everything, but especially get more materials, train with them, and then get to another level basically. And then I got more orders, I could buy more supplies, better materials, and shifted to silver, and then better materials and shifted to gold field, and and did it like that. And it was like a business, kind of a bit of a student business for a while, for like 5-7 years. And then after like 5 or so years, I just felt that I was like getting at a bit of the plateau with my skills, because I was self-taught for all of it. Jewelry making can be a very secretive world. Today it's changed, thankfully, thanks to like a lot of online just resources. A lot of it has changed, and therefore today it's not that secretive anymore, and you have so much you can find online. But still, there's a lot of things that I think young jewelers may struggle finding if they don't go to a school. And I didn't go to a school to build what I've built. I'm making a mess, and that's kind of the purpose, I guess, in some ways. But yeah, as I saying, kept on creating. And the most important part of all of this is that there's not one point until a while that I was wondering how do I become a jeweler? How do I get where I want to be? How, I was just like not thinking, doing it, making jewelry. And I was being a jeweler, but I did not think about the fact that I was being a jeweler, But that's how it all started. And then finally, after a few years, I decided to do more higher end training. And so I took some kind of private classes with Hans van der Leen. He was my teacher in Utrecht, where I lived for my grad studies. I loved him so much. I still really, really appreciate him so much. He comments so much of my posts on Instagram, and we're still in touch. And yeah, he's such a great teacher and person overall. I would recommend him. I recommend him to people in Brussels, that's to say, that like are not around where he is. And he was my first real higher end teacher, where I started learning like to really like make the real deal, fine jewelry. And so that was back in like 2021, maybe something like that. And yeah, and then after that, then I apprenticed in Belgium and then in the US, and I will say much more about my journey later. And then I became a teacher myself, and just like a lot happened later. But I think I just want to focus for another second on like how the premises of all of what has developed afterward has been a lot, from just being encouraged by somebody super supportive, and then doing things without thinking about it, and then finding people that wanted to support me. And I don't know, I never was thinking, it was never in my reality, my realm of like, oh, what are people gonna think, until much later, or like some social media, whatever. But for a really, really long time, like until even sometimes until today, I'm like, I've always been doing what I wanted to do and not thinking of like where I want to be and how to get there. Not thinking about, will this be the right way of doing it? Not thinking about like, should I do it, should I not do it? I was just like making jewelry and just step by step doing it. Kind of like, I don't know, you open your fridge, you wanna make a soup, and you're like, do I make a soup or not? And then you find the ingredients and like, let's make a soup, and you just do it step by step. It really felt that simple, and that's how I like, again, today I live from my work entirely and quite like abundantly, and I'm open to speak about finances and business things, so I will probably in another video, but like abundantly, authentically. I feel so happy with my work. I'm like, I have some I'm so happy with my life, with my work. I don't feel like exhausted from any of it. I just feel like inspired and recharged. And I started by like not knowing what I was doing, and selling things for like $2 in copper, like all across the ocean, to people I never knew, but then now have become very close friends. And it's just important to me to remind a lot of people, because I get a lot of younger potential jeweler, or even older potential jeweler, that are like happy and impressed by what I have built, and really want to create something, and just like not blame themselves, but are a bit like critical about like, oh, I should really get my shit together on this, oh, I should really like do that, and I'm like don't worry and don't think too much. Simply, like, for me at least, everything that I'm doing is just simple, like, I don't like this, I want to change this, I'm gonna do that. Or I like this, I want it as well, let's make it, you know. And I think I have been very blessed in my life, because I have had so much doors opening for me since I was a young kid. I often had that kind of bold and like assertive and let's go get it kind of energy, and I will talk about that other ways possibly as well. But because I have seen that, and I have seen that in general things work out, basically I have developed that kind of confidence and trust. But also, again, because back then I really didn't think of things much before I started doing them. And so yeah, I just feel that it's, you know, this is the first time I'm doing this again. Like, the other video was the first time I was doing door of a cabinet. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I really hope that these little plants are not gonna die because of me. That would make me very sad for sure. But it really doesn't matter that much if I mess it up. And if it's done the like wrong the whole way, I can just start again. And if that closet is ugly, then I have wasted a little bit of material, but I have learned a great deal. And I think that that attitude of like just being so willing to learn from creating is super important. And like even if it doesn't become a business, even if your dream is like not yet there, you learn so much along the way, and it's just you learn so much about yourself as well. And I think that's one of the most beautiful gifts of like starting and creating, is how much you learn about yourself, and how much you have to work with yourself, and like, you know, go after things that scare you. I think that's what I wanted to say today. So I hope that resonated in me. How that's a story that I don't tell often. I tell sometimes, but I think says a lot. Yeah. So this is a beautiful sunset over here. I'm gonna call my cat, kitty cat, soon. He needs to come in at night because there is wild animals here, a lot. Gonna wash my hands, arrange this, and go eat down at Purple and Rainbows with Xander, a very yummy dinner from local ingredients that we often do on Sunday night. So I wish you a lovely night, evening, morning, whatever it is. See you soon.